Hello and welcome to the first EVE Valkyrie EU versus North America face-off. We have 16 pilots across two teams who cannot wait to start blowing up ships, destroying each other in a blaze of fiery inferno. With me on the stream this evening, I have Tali, who will be commentating with me. Tali, how are you looking forward to this today?
That's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to actually commentating for the first time as well.
Yeah, it's going to be an awful lot of fun. We've got two veterans from EVE FanFest, 1-5 and Quantum Delta, who this time are on the same side, fighting for the European Union. They will be facing two veteran players in the form of Robot and Gigai, who are heading up the US team. For all of them, we're not going to be able to control what type of matches we're going to be facing, so we'll have an assortment between a team deathmatch experience, which will be whoever manages to create 30 kills the fastest, but we'll also have a control point mode going in as well, where you'll have 3 control points and the teams battling it out against each other to control the resources that those points generate. Tali, out of the pilots that you've seen in action, because you were at FanFest last year, what kind of things are you hoping to see this evening?
Lots and lots of brawling. That's what I'm looking forward to.
We should have some good fights. I'm expecting to see the 3 different ship classes, the heavy, the fighter, and the support, really start playing out into the various different roles that are out there at the moment. So with the matches that you've seen, who would you particularly rate to come out on top? Are you hoping for EU to win big today, or do you think that US might actually throw some surprises in?
I've been watching quite a few of the US players recently, and the skill level seems to be a lot higher than I'd expect from, obviously, most of the EU guys have been streaming longer. So it'd be interesting to see who actually wins.
I would agree with you there. Although we didn't see the US and the North American pilots being heavily represented at EVE FanFest this year, I'm really hoping for some exciting things from them, particularly from Gigai and from Robot, who have been playing for quite a long time. Both of them, I think, from the very, very early days of EVE Valkyrie launching. In fact, I think they were even in the beta. We should see some very exciting things from them.
Yeah, most definitely.
So in terms of, I was going to say, so in terms of team composition, have you got any particular hunches about how the teams are going to be made up today?
The only thing that I think that we'll do is a lot of people seem to default to 2 support, 2 heavy, and a fighter. That seemed to be quite prevalent in the tournament at FanFest. But whether or not it'll be everyone picks the ship that they're most comfortable in. So we'll probably see maybe 2 or 3 heavies per team, because they seem to be the more popular of it at the moment.
Yep, I'd agree with you there. In fact, Quantum Delta quite famously used to fly a heavy as his favorite ship, but he's recently started going back to the fighter. He says that he prefers the versatility of the smaller, more nimble craft, even though he's more experienced with the weaponry that comes with the heavy ship. So I think it's going to be interesting to see the balance between going for heavy and trying to basically wear people down, and switching over to the fighter and being a lot more nimble. I guess some of that's going to have an effect on the maps that come up in this rotation. With some of the more cluttered maps, like Forge, for example, the players are probably going to tend more towards those fighters. Whereas with the open ground, I suspect that we'll see the heaviers being used more. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I'm not 100% sure on the maps. I think we only had the one map for the FanFest stream, so unfortunately that's where my lack of experience comes in.
Okay, so with the FanFest tournament, we had the new Crossroads map, which is a kind of hybrid between an asteroid field, but it's also got some facility buildings in there as well that players can go and hide around and fly around in between and stuff. With things like Forge, particularly where you've got the star bases and the ships being built and stuff like that, it's much more kind of scaffolding, rigs, stuff like that. Whereas there's also an asteroid belt as a separate map, which is much more kind of weaving around rocks. I think Cathedral is the one where heavies will come out to play much more, because you've got that huge open space, you've got a spire in the middle, this kind of cathedral object they call it. It looks like a sleeper drone encampment or something. The other map that might come into play is Necropolis, which is a ship graveyard. With that one, I think we'll see much more in terms of the fighters coming out again rather than the heavies. Although anything can happen. It's going to be interesting to speak to the pilots in between each match to see which ones they play out.
Yeah, most definitely.
So in terms of your own experience, what ships do you tend to prefer yourself at the moment?
I effectively fly fighter, and that was all I flew. I could change up to other ships like supports and things, because obviously we only had the Spectre, the Displacer, the Wraith, and something else I can't remember. It's a long time ago. So it was interesting to see the interaction between them, but I personally just stuck with the fighter. I thought it was the best idea was to get the basis of how to fly a ship down before I started going into the heavy or the support.
Mm-hmm. Yep, with the fighter, it's a great ship to start out with because it teaches you the basics, particularly with the heads tracked missiles, where you just basically look at someone, lock onto them with your missiles, and then release the trigger once the missile count's climbed up. It's a very easy way of getting some early damage in. But in terms of really optimizing the fighter, you need to start getting onto those Gatling guns and starting to really hammer away at the enemy's shields and start to trick into their armor. So people are apparently asking for the rosters of each team while we count down towards the first match. So for the UK, we've got Quantum Delta and WAN 5. We've also got RMTZ, Del Torres, Beric, General Stargazer, Codex 6, and Zintok 5. For the US, we've got Robots and Gigai, who are streaming for the US side. We've also got Bromo Sapien, Xtobi, Erasmus, Blue Boy X, Zlitter, and Super Kev, I believe, as well. So out of those, I know that Quantum Delta 1-5, RMTZ, Del Torres, in fact, most of the EU team are regular seasoned players. For the US team, I know that Robot Gigai, Xtobi, Erasmus, and Superkev and Bromo Sapien have all been playing on a regular basis. So these are not Valkyrie newcomers. These are seasoned seasoned fighter pilots. With all of this, as I probably should remind people that this is a very kind of experimental thing that we're doing. We're just trying out broadcasting EVE Valkyrie as a particular match and a friendly and experimental, I guess you'd call it a exhibition match between the US and EU. There's no trophy to be won. All that people are fighting for is glory on the field at the moment.
And we're not biased, honest.
The fact you've got two Brits commentating on a EU versus North America match, nothing at all to do with it, at all.
No bias here, honest.
But seriously, it could all turn around quite rapidly. In the EU, it's getting towards late in the evening. I mean, the clock is ticking down, and people are going to be tired and fatigued. And pulling on the Oculus Rift headset is going to be a grueling experience over the next hour or so. Whereas with the US team, it's going to be much more of a kind of lunchtime to kind of mid-morning experience for them. So they're going to be feeling a lot more refreshed.
Yeah.
So with your own experience, you've used the CV1 headset for EVE Valkyrie. How would you describe your experience with the headset itself?
Funnily enough, I've actually used, I think it was a DK1 we used for, because I was in the stream, well, I was in the tournament last year as well. So when the tournament that the Quantum Delta actually was in the winning team.
Okay, it looks like we're going to get our first match coming up right now. So hold on to your seats, guys. We should be going into the launch tubes. Okay, so it looks like we
Cool.
have
Looks like
teams
we're
on
good to
the
go.
right side.
Hot ass trigger yet for the drone drop, do they?
Just getting started,
No,
and we have a
that's coming
control
Tuesday.
point
Well,
match. So this means
configurable.
we have
Hot
3
House is coming
control
Tuesday.
nodes which are scattered around the map. To control each point, you need to fly out to the point, and once you get within a particular range, you can then deploy your drone onto that point. The more drones there are surrounding a point, the quicker that point gets captured for your team. You can also destroy the drones that belong to your opposing team by firing at them just like you would firing against an enemy fighter. The goal of this, you can be won in 2 different ways. You can either take down your opposition, wear down their resources by destroying as many ships as possible, or you can wear down their resources by controlling the nodes. So you can't just camp around a node and capture resources that way. You actually have to go out and fight as well.
Also, I think I seem to recall if you destroy a drone, that's when the drone actually goes on cooldown. It doesn't go on cooldown until that point. So once you lay a drone, as long as it's in the field, you can't lay another drone, and as soon as it gets destroyed, you then have a 30-second cooldown before you can lay another drone. So destroying drones is actually very tactical.
That's exactly it. That's exactly right. So with the match currently playing out at the moment, Talia, how do you feel that the balance of power is shifting at the moment?
I don't. I think the EU side is killing more people by the looks of it.
Okay. Bear with me one moment. I'm just having a minor technical difficulty.
No problem. Yeah, the points just now are all being held by the EU side. They're also winning in clones at the moment.
Okay. So the EU are already pulling out a rapid lead into the match.
It seems to be. They've lost point B.
Okay.
We did
So-
during during FanFest, we were actually pushing to hopefully get a spectator mode added to the game to make commentating a lot easier.
Yes, this is very true. So we're currently in a very experimental mode. We're trying this without any kind of spectator ability. So we're kind of relying on the streams coming from the various pilots at the moment. What we're clearly seeing here is that the EU are pulling out a massive lead at the moment, with virtually no resources gone to the EU, who are currently playing on the Valkyrie side. The US are playing on the On the Garistas side, they're playing on the side of Fatal. And although they've got a single node captured, which is node B at the moment, they are really struggling to get some scores down. As you can see from Robot 2K here, his team are really, really struggling to get any kills up. This map is called Cathedral. It's got that massive centerpiece that you can see there with the kind of drone legs. Robots scouring the field for any kind of targets at the moment, but although they're trying to consolidate around node B and really lock that down, they really need to start getting some kills on the board. So roughly halfway through this match at present, Tali, how would you say the match is progressing for the US side?
Not well, but from playing the tournament setting myself, it doesn't mean to say they're going to lose drastically. I mean, they could still pull it around and win. They've got 4.5 minutes left, which is roughly 1.5 into the match, so they've still got plenty of time to pull it back.
Yeah, they can turn it around. That's very, very reasonable. However, you do get to the point where things start to get locked down. In fact, I think we're getting close to the point now where the US are just going to completely run out of resources.
Yeah, it looks like they're down to 4 just now. So
yeah, single digits. So a couple more ships, and that is game over for the US. This first match.